day early this week because some of us have some other commitments I need to take care of, which is fine.
We all do.
We all do, yes. And then we'll take a little bit of a long break for the Labor Day holiday, and then you guys will be back next week, and I won't be here next week. So
it's going to be a party.
Who approved this is what I want to know.
Me.
Oh.
Next question.
All right.
I was today I was reading up a little bit on the astronauts who've been stuck out in space, and apparently the NASA has selected SpaceX. SpaceX to go get them, as opposed to Boeing. I guess they didn't want the doors to fly off in mid-flight. So, so I think that's
a bad joke.
That NASA has to go. They're not going to do it themselves. They're going to hire Elon Musk and his team to go get these guys and bring them back.
Why?
They were supposed to be out there because I think this is going to be cheaper and faster, and SpaceX can have it done and be ready like early next year. And typical NASA, typical government crap, they probably couldn't get their shit together in a year and a half or something.
2027.
Yeah, right.
Bring it back.
So these guys will end up being out there 8 months. So you know what a cool practical joke would be when you bring them back.
There's going to be 3.
No, if the people who welcomed them back to Earth had apes.
Oh my God!
Had ape masks
like,
on,
yeah,
like Planet of the Apes,
like a mascot thing.
Hilarious.
Oh my gosh!
Why not? I mean, if you're up there for that long, that would probably be your reality. Like,
I mean,
you don't know what.
I was listening to a guy today on a podcast who said they do these mental exercises and they practice mental time travel when they're in space.
I do that when I'm dreaming.
I think you do that at work. So you sit there and you think about the past, and you make sure you remember how everything was beforehand, and don't try to anticipate when you're coming back. And when you get back, try to make it as much as it was the day you left, and pretend, kind of put it in your head that you were only up there for a short time as opposed to 8 months, whatever.
Yeah, so when they went, so when it was the International Space Station that sent them in space, it was 8 days. 8 days was the planned projection of how much time they were supposed to stay. It's a man and a woman, Suni Williams and Butch Whitmore. And I don't know the age of Butch, but Suni is, I would say,
You're around our
ish,
age?
like younger maybe. I don't know Butch's age. Yeah.
You said international, so are they Americans?
I believe so, yeah. Because I believe Whitmore served in the Navy. I don't know about Suni, but I can't imagine thinking about being gone for months. Of course, I guess it's kind of like the price you pay when you go on a mission like this. But can you imagine having kids, which I know at least Whitmore, I don't know about Williams, but he has 2 kids at home. And it's like thinking about the milestones you miss, and then you're up there. So they're not anticipated to be home until February, even with, what is it? SpaceX, yeah. So the amount of time that you're spending up there, this is so inappropriate, but Brittany and I were outside like, okay, it's a woman and a man.
I knew
Well,
that's why I said they're coming back with 3.
Oh,
humans have needs.
There
Okay, but so you wonder if like their significant others are like questioning that as well. Not that that's necessarily an important thing, but it's just one of the things you start taking into account. Not only that, but the milestones you're missing, and is it worth it?
Well, that's the thing.
To say you've gone to space,
but do you get paid more since you were supposed to be there for 8 days? What's the overtime on that?
Oh boy,
you were on the clock, and I don't think they're getting more because they're in space. They'd be getting paid if they were on the ground.
Well, when they get home,
but this mission was probably set at a certain price.
Okay, were they going to take time off afterwards? Maybe, I don't know. I thought we had a Space Force now. Don't we have a Space Force? Aren't they supposed to be in charge of this?
I think it's space balls with the way this thing has gone down, right? Like,
but I think we have a Space
warp
Force.
Speed.
Yeah.
But I think, considering all of it, of course, like you said, the red tape and the loopholes that the U.S. government, everything takes a little bit longer. And these people probably, I would think that Suni and Butch were like, oh, this is not going to be an 8-day mission. I'm hoping that they had that in the back of their mind and they did the psychological tests and made sure that they were prepared for it. But I can't imagine going up for 8 days. And how long has it been? Or how long will it be? 8 months?
8 months.
Woo.
8 days, 8 months.
8 days to 8 months.
So you're saying she's going to come back with a bump?
I mean, if it's not till February, she's coming back with a third person.
Well,
it depends.
I think it's just, all of that notwithstanding, which of course has got to be something. I think about like, okay, hopefully they set them up there with all of the food and stuff.
Can they send that kind of stuff?
No, if they could send it, they could probably retrieve them, right?
I
don't know.
I think that's a bigger,
Yeah.
mission. But when you're just sending packages, I would think that would be.
Well, I mean, the International Space Station has to have a bunch of provisions. I mean, it's a space station. It's not just they just aren't going up in a ship. So you would think it would have provisions for a larger crew and more people. And if they're the only 2 people up there, you would think there'd be enough food and water and stuff for them to make it.
I just keep thinking, day 2, I'm up there like, oh, I'm hungry. I'm still hungry. I think there's enough. We're only here for 8 days. I think I can have some of. I can dip into the 8th-month reserve. Oh, we'd be hungry by week 2.
You've had your 4th MRE gravy, potatoes and gravy.
Oh
of the
yeah,
week
I'm like
and
dumping it in my mouth, chasing it around, because everything flies around, right? I don't know.
Does everything fly?
Can you get pregnant in space? I wonder. Because what if that flies?
Ooh.
And what if it doesn't land? Maybe it's safe sex. I don't know.
Weird. It's weird that we're even talking about this because you would think that.
Y'all brought it up.
Well,
No,
but I think you would.
I brought space, the space portion of it. You all brought up the, are they going to get it on up there portion of
Okay,
it. Let's be
fine.
perfectly clear.
Well,
I
sorry.
think it's.
I do feel sorry for them though.
Yeah, it
regardless,
sucks.
like that's like. I mean, all jokes aside, I'm like crying on the inside. That's
What do you think they're doing?
crying on the
Playing
inside.
Uno?
Crying on the inside.
Maybe they
Knick-knack, paddywhack?
Did they
dog
go
a bone?
up? No, they didn't go up early enough, so they probably don't have college NCAA College 25 on their PlayStation. They probably can't play that. So I don't know what they're doing, but
Somersaults
hopefully
in
they're
the air.
doing the research and the things they're supposed to be doing. I hope that's what
What
they're
was the
doing.
original mission for?
I don't remember. I just
Just to explore space for.
to go where no one has ever gone before. Even though people have been there before. So. But it also affects you physically up there. It affects your bone density. It affects your weight. It affects a lot of things being up there for extended periods of time. So that's not cool. And you would hope, as you said earlier, they would be compensated for that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
hopefully they have spaceman's comp. Right? Listen, I'm full of them
She's
today.
all.
I'm full
I
of
just,
it.
speaking of that, I just renewed ours for the next time, you fall down or something. I can, make sure we take care of that.
I fell
So-
down earlier, so.
We're talking
kidding.
about
me a bill.
space. I want to know what happened to Pluto. Don't forget
dog?
Pluto. No, are you kidding me?
The planet.
The planet.
I thought they made it a planet again. They didn't make it a planet again? I knew they took it away, but I
took
heard
it
they were going
away.
to bring it back.
I don't know if they brought it back, but it's really messing up my
Her
my
acronym.
Yeah, my acronym, which I can't even. My
My very,
Very
excellent mother
served
nine,
us
nine
nine pizzas.
pizzas. And
Now you don't get pizza anymore.
This is how you remember the names of the planets.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is how you did that. Okay.
That's how
yeah.
everyone
Roy
did
G.
in grade
Bibb, baby.
school.
There's a thing for everything.
Okay.
Yeah. But
So
I
long,
think
Pluto.
I know Pluto. Have you seen the Brian Regan stand-up sketch where he talks about Pluto not being a part of the planets anymore? He's like, "Oh, what happened?" It's hilarious. You got to see it. So funny. But I'd rather be Pluto in this moment than Suni
yes,
or
same.
Butchie Whitmore.
No,
Because
that's
can you imagine?
got to be awful. Would you go up? Would you go
No.
up there? Would you go up there if you?
Well,
had the chance?
I guess it depends on. So space is not my passion. What's here on this earth, I think, is more my passion than what's out there, or the ocean, maybe. But that's scarier too because it's also uncharted, right? But I think it's just if your passion is space and discovering the unknown and being a part of that, and you're with someone else who has that passion, I think it probably could be really cool. And I know we're joking about, extramarital affairs and blah 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 blah, but I think if you're with somebody, you can pass the time by being like, God, how cool! Like you'd have to justify it. How cool is it that we get this chance to be here?
Some of the ships have done where they just go up and come back down, and William Shatner did that, and like Michael Strahan did that,
Yeah.
the TV host, former football player. That I'd like to do, just to go up and say, "Oh man, this is awesome," and come right back down. That'd be great.
On the
segment?
penis rocket, on
Yes.
the phallic
Yes,
rocket,
yes.
A
I
new
think those
segment
people
for
have
Bob.
too much money and should
Ride the
be.
penis rocket.
Huh?
That's the new segment. Ride the penis rocket.
Ah, there you go.
So-
So I think that if you have that much money to go up in space for,
I'm not paying for it. Somebody else
Yeah.
can pay for it.
I just
Doing it for no. I mean,
who
no, I
did
wouldn't.
it? Bezos. was
These were
his.
Bezos's ships, right?
Yeah.
That Shatner and Strahan and some other folks went on. Yeah.
Yeah. So Bezos.
I'm sure Shatner didn't pay for his. You get the pup. You sent Captain Kirk into space. That is
that's primo.
Invaluable publicity.
That's primo.
For life.
William Shatner didn't pay a dime to
Well,
go
it's
into
like
space.
one of those
I promise
things
you that.
where Shatner's like, well, what am I going to do now? Might as well go to
Has to worry
space.
if his toupee is going to fly off. from
Oh, it
space
definitely
or
did.
whatever,
Wish we
so.
had video footage of that.
He's like 83, 84 or something like
God
that.
bless
That
him.
does something
still-
to your bones.
Yeah. But again,
Yeah.
he's like, I'm 83 or 80. Probably he was probably 81.
Well,
at
yeah,
the
probably
time.
when you get back down to earth, it's like you take a step and you're like, oh, shoot, my knees. Then you're toast.
Yes, probably so. I would.
Right?
Yeah, I would.
That would be
wobbly legs.
insane. But I guess maybe that brings a new point. If you have issues, if we ever get a chance to live, with a little less gravity, maybe it would help our brittle little bones to live somewhere.
You would adjust to it eventually. Your body would adapt.
Sure.
I mean, we all adapted to Earth over millions of years. Eventually,
Yeah.
when we live on our moon colony, we'll adapt.
Would you live on a moon? Yeah. No. I think we
Again,
could
I want to go up and come back down.
Yeah.
I don't want to stay there.
Yeah, but maybe you go up and then you get stuck there. That's a price you got to
If
pay,
you're
I
stuck
guess.
when you're up there, no, they can just pull you back down. That's fine.
With a string.
Something
They're
like
like,
that. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, no, I'm
Right.
not. No, I'm not gonna miss football season. So.
yeah. Well, speaking of Bezos, we were talking about Amazon earlier, right?
And we need to take a break before we do that.
Okay.
Because we have to take a break in the middle. I want to thank you, ladies, for the space talk and not making any jokes about Uranus. That was really good of you. We'll be right
Oh, I didn't think of it.
The Liquor Booth is your home for a huge selection of beer, wine, and spirits. The Liquor Booth has 2 locations in Quincy, 3520 Broadway and 1500 North 12th Street. The Liquor Booth, where it's always happy hour.
A&B Properties is Quincy's largest apartment rental company with hundreds of units available. They offer short-term and long-term rentals with 1 up to 4 bedroom apartments. A&B Properties meets the needs of its tenants with care, compassion, and a quality of service that exceeds expectations. A&B Properties also has a convenient tenant app for you to do your payments or make repair requests. Give them a call today. A&B Properties, 217-919-8080, Quincy. As Ashley began the segue early and it was a nice segue if we weren't going to a break. I give you credit for that. Jeff Bezos, Amazon issues. We have reported on Muddy River News that we have an Amazon fulfillment center. I think that's what they call it. Distribution, whatever, but I think fulfillment's their word because they want to have some cool word that's like, fulfillment.
Yeah, they're fulfilling orders.
bring
They're
you
not
all
just
this shit to your
sending.
porch.
Yeah, they're not just sending it out.
Wow. So 80 jobs. The
Cool.
facility's going to be located out on North 45th Street out by the former K&L Arena, now Transportation Department for Quincy Public Schools. Denman Linen's out there, so there's some business already out there. Last night at the Plan Commission, they discussed the zoning for the property, and David was at the meeting. And we had learned that Amazon is indeed coming here. And I want to mention the fact that I had said something on a podcast a few weeks ago, maybe even months ago.
Yeah,
I
we've
said
been
something
talking
about
about this
Burlington.
for-
I said something about Burlington, Iowa getting
Well,
one.
we talked
Why
about-
aren't we getting one? And we are.
We talked about this when we talked about the 54th Street development with that crew because we were like, what's stopping us from doing that? And yeah, hallelujah, they listened. My question is, did we?
I don't think we're going to take any credit.
No,
for
I think it
Amazon.
was
No,
in the
not
process
us. But
before.
I think it was just already. It was probably in the works. But I'll take freaking credit.
I want to know how long it's been in the works because
Yeah.
something like this had to been.
But also, I want to know how much money did we have to entice
We'll
with?
find that out eventually.
Okay.
And I'm sure that will probably end up going before the city council at some point. They'll say, hey, we need to run this water. We need to do this, yada, yada. It's going to cost us X. And it's 80 jobs, and it's Amazon, and it's not something, I don't think it's something you say no to. I really don't.
Oh no, I think it's
absolutely.
fantastic. I just think it would be very transparent of the city of Quincy to talk about how much money
They will.
was
These
in the game.
head of household jobs, which
Uh-huh.
is what everyone's been vying
it's
for,
what we
saying
need.
that we need. My question is then, where are these people? Because that's the housing I guess.
Where are they going to stay?
Yeah, that's the housing level of income that, that's where we're lacking. So.
Well, they can afford the places on 8th and Jersey.
I was going to say, head of household. Well, I don't know. Can they? Because
let's not. Okay, I mean, let's do it then.
I own a whole house.
And like.
Sublet?
For less than that rent.
That and like the neighborhood. Let's not to mention, it is for sale.
Oh.
Yes. So like
maybe they'll sell it to Amazon.
Maybe.
And Amazon will rent it to their people.
There
Hey.
you go.
Look.
There you go.
But
we
again,
solve problems,
I don't
right?
know.
solve problems.
I don't want to see our Amazon people leave just because they're stuck in the middle of a not up and coming
Maybe.
neighborhood.
Listen.
Amazon's got enough money. Maybe they buy and move the food pantry. Maybe they buy the scoreboard and move it. Maybe they buy all this
Get
stuff.
out of here.
They turn
Stop
it,
trying to
turn
change.
it into this.
They gentrify?
They gentrify it. They turn
Gross.
it into New Quincy or the Quincy Center.
Then where do those people go?
The heart of that's the new.
Well,
heart of
Amazon
Quincy.
has enough money; they can build a whole new thing
right.
for them and transform
I don't
this
like
whole
this.
new. Well, I'm just saying, sometimes things happen.
We're okay with them coming with the distribution center. Don't infringe on anything else. That's what we're saying.
No, fine. Like I
Fine.
think we
Help
need to
them.
have
Yeah.
good housing options, and that is not a good. It's not a good housing option if it's for sale.
But also on the Plan Commission agenda last night was like new subdivisions out on Cooks Lane
I've
and
seen all those.
other stuff. So yeah, there's a
They're
bunch
all,
of new things popping up out there.
Town and country banks funding those.
And the that the housing money that they took from the ARPA money, they've doled out about 760 grand, 720, it's over 700 grand in loans to help out some of these developments that are getting
How much
done.
did they have to give out again?
$1 billion.
Okay, so
So
almost.
they got 240, and they said the rest
Money
of this.
spent fast.
They said the rest of this though they want to use in the county because this was mostly in Quincy. So some of them they want to go out in some of the farther areas if people who want to build out there. So, but no, I think the other question is now that once this announcement's out, you've got a sitting mayor who's caught a lot of heat and has two people running against him right now who can sit there and say, "Look what I did. Look what I've done." Yeah, maybe you all don't like the way I interact with people sometimes, and maybe you don't like this. But he goes, "Hey, look what I'm doing. I'm getting results." I mean, it's a great campaign issue for him to run on.
Did this sit
If it's
back
legit.
in the back pocket for this? Like, could we have made this happen faster? I'm just asking.
That's a great question.
Well, no, I think in that case you wait till like December when it's closer to the primary.
Well, here's what I would say: if Trope did this or even played a huge part in it, congratulations, Trope.
Nice.
However, I want to see the
Receipts.
I want to see the receipts and what's like how, because sometimes it's easy to be like, yes, we want Amazon, but then you're like,
what is this going to
but
cost us?
where are they going to stay and what are we going to lose and how are we going to shift things
And how are we paying for this?
Right. So I think it's a bigger picture. Yeah, everybody hears Amazon and everybody gets excited because I, for one, am really excited about having more kind of.
Much faster are we getting our packages?
That's all. So I was going to say that, but like, am I going to be able to get my shampoo and stuff faster? Cool.
I mean, could it get any faster than your 2-day shipping? I guess it's going to be like,
I
it's
hope
at
a
your
drone
door.
brings that
It's
shit
at your door
What
the
if
day
they want you to drive out to 45th Street and get it?
No. Are you
I'll go
kidding
get
me?
it.
Just kidding.
Listen,
Really?
sometimes I need things like right now.
What?
But no, what if they said, okay, the drone's on its way. It'll be here in 10
Happy.
minutes. There
Well,
you go.
I don't know if I'm. I
not-
guess
that's- I
we'll
don't think
see.
that's how it works.
We'll
Well,
see
I'm
how
just
things
saying.
shake out. But I guess that's kind of my point. Like, everybody hears Amazon, and it's like ding, 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 ding. But there's always a price to pay. There's always a sacrifice that people have to make.
Yep.
Whether it's a community, people being gentrified. There's something that's not going to shake out because with every good there is something that shakes out, right? But I think we should be happy that this is in the works because we want to grow Quincy and not necessarily with ma and pa places because we don't want to steal from current ma and pa places with less than head of household jobs. So as it stands, this is cool.
We need these jobs.
Yeah, no, I think
But
it's in that
let's see
positive.
how let's see the transparency, and then also if it is Mayor Trope, let's see the things, and then we'll decide whether we say thank you or you could have done better, or you know. And if it's not him, hopefully he doesn't take credit.
Come on.
I don't know.
I take if you're the mayor, you take credit.
Really?
Yep. You take all the blame for all the crap that people get mad about, like potholes and stuff. So
What about-
you take the credit on
you
something
take the
like that.
blame for all the non-head of household jobs that we have. I mean, every single place has a for hire sign in their building. Obviously, that's the country and not just Quincy. But do you take credit? I guess, or do you?
I think you just say you're working on it and trying. We're trying. That's why we're doing this housing. That's why we're doing this. That's why we're doing that. I mean, I think you just try to build your narrative around that. So that's just starting to starting to heat up a little bit, and we'll follow that and see where things are going.
I like it when it heats up.
Except they're too hot today around
It's
here.
too hot. It's very hot.
Too hot to handle.
Too hot for the hot tub, right?
Too hot for the hot tub.
It is. It's
But
very
Poor
hot.
David.
I do like
is too
the. It's like when it gets down to the nitty gritty of any sports, playoffs or Super Bowl or anything. It's like people start to really pick a side
Yes.
type thing.
But I don't think we're there yet.
No, we're not there. But
These are just announcements. We have a long. When is the election again? In
February is the Republican primary, and then our mayoral general election is April 1st.
But I do want to mention something because when we had our last club guest on, we were talking about RFK Jr. and he has since, endorsed Trump, and Trump has talked about making him his kind of, I guess, health advisor, secretary of health, something like that. I don't care if you are a Trump supporter, if you're an RFK Jr. supporter. I think it takes a really good team. And if Trump isn't your favorite guy, maybe we can build up his team to be full of favorite people. And if not, then of course you still have Kamala and her team. Has she announced anything like that? Okay. All right.
I said the other day that I was going to have problems saying her name, and I completely blanked. I had a pet named after. So the book Siddhartha, there is a woman in there named Kamala.
Okay.
Kamala. And so I just slipped my mind, but I had a blue rabbit when I was in college for a while. It was I was in high school. It was in my parents' basement. They had no idea that we had this.
A literal blue rabbit?
Yes.
Or were you tripping on
That was
acid?
the
Brittany?
color.
No.
A
Okay.
rabbit that was
Okay.
the color blue.
Yes, they exist.
Did you dye it?
No, and I set that blue rabbit on the blue lazy boy that was in my room, and she just blended in, but that isn't why my parents didn't know. They just didn't really come to the basement. We had a zoo. I had a bird that lasted a week. I had a couple other rabbits, but
Sounds like the Conrad household.
Yes. But
Menagerie.
I think you kind of know what's going on. The Bull household did not know what was going on.
Oh, yeah.
But, my rabbit was named Kamala after. I'm not really going to say because I don't
But
want
that
to get
name, for that version, it's pronounced Kamala,
Yes.
as opposed to our
Kamala.
vice president, who's
Yes.
Kamala. Okay.
But interesting things
That's why I was like, oh, my
it's so funny that when when you work for a news source, things that come out locally, things that come out nationally, and things you pay attention to and questions you ask. And I think the good thing that comes out of all of it is we not only talk about it, but hopefully we kind of pose questions for other people to ask themselves so they can make up their own mind. Because while we all have our opinions and our preferences, I think our job totally with whether it's the space mission or, what's going on locally or what's going on nationally, question it, realize that your resources may or may not be factual or they may be opinion-based and make your own decisions, but do your research, figure it out, be kind
yes
to one another.
Also, in doing your research, I noticed, like, on our last Club Muddy, you wrote it, like, because we don't care. And somebody was like, oh, I know that's not A and B. And they're right. But I'm not going to get my information from the Republican convention or the Democratic convention.
no,
I'm going
I get
to
it.
get my information from, like, neutral, solid sources. I would never take the information that is being fed to me and then base my opinion on it. I want to research for myself and get that information from not somebody that's trying to shove something down my throat.
So where is that these days? Where is that source?
Mine are from
these
comedian
days?
podcasts.
Yeah, I knew she was going to say
They really
that.
are.
I like
Because that, because they're so, regardless of what comedian you're listening to, they all have different viewpoints, and it stemmed from COVID onward, and a lot of them have switched or not necessarily switched, but they've been swayed, and they kind of, so like my favorite podcaster just had ex-President Trump on his podcast. He also had Bernie Sanders. He also has, he kind of brings in everybody so that you can hear all of it and then make up your own mind, which I appreciate more than any biased anything telling me what to think. So if you're confused, I'm not saying like go find it from a comedian podcaster, but there are sources out there that are actually talking to these people that you can listen to, digest, to make up your own minds. But then also Muddy River, we talk about things.
Right. I'm talking about national. I mean, we know where we're the place to come for straight news here in Quincy, Hannibal area.
But national news, I go for podcasters.
And again, I think we laughed about the comedians thing, but I think there's some truth to that because again, two of the guys I listen to are Jon Stewart and Bill Maher.
Yep, same.
And those
and they're
guys,
totally different.
Yeah, but the last week, Mark came back from his break and he was great, and he had Caitlin Collins from CNN on, and he called bullshit on them because he said, how can you say you're the moderate media source when you have all these shows that have 5 Democrats and 1 Republican and they all gang up on him?
Right.
Why don't you have 2 and 2? Why don't you have more like Crossfire back in the day
Balanced.
when CNN had Robert Novak and whoever from the left?
What was
Bethel
the answer
or
to
somebody. She said that what did she say? But it was not a satisfactory answer.
Yeah.
But she said, look, our anchors, we present the news straight down the middle. I said, yeah, but all of your talk shows have all of these hosts that are still left leaning. You're not as far left as MSNBC. I get that, and I mean, I do watch when something still happens in this country. When I watched the debate. And CNN was like, they said, oh, shit, after the debate, which most Democrats did.
Yeah.
And then I watched after the aftermath of the former President Trump's assassination attempt. And then CNN was like, look, this is terrible. We don't do this. I don't care if we disagree or agree or whatever. This is horrible. So, you do find that stuff there. And then MSNBC had hosts who were on Twitter saying, too bad that they missed or crap like that,
God.
So shit like that. It's just, no, so CNN, they do have their moments where you can say, okay, that's how it should be. But then post-convention or during convention, after Biden stepped down and after Harris stepped in, they put the pom-poms back on. And it's like, guys, come on.
So if we were to eliminate the divide, right, between, especially politically, what do you think the first step is?
Doing it at a local level.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah. That would go along. That would go a long way.
Would it ever be possible to eliminate legacy media?
Ironically, I'm at the conference I'm going to in Chicago next week. That's one of the discussions we're
Really?
having. Yeah, but it's on more of a local level, not a national level. But it's the fact that places like Muddy River and 100, maybe thousands of other websites across the country are doing the same thing we're doing in communities like Quincy. I don't know, and so that's why I'm looking forward to talking to a bunch of people like that about content, also about marketing and sales and the whole 9 yards. There's a gazillion seminars to go to, and I'm looking forward to soaking in some of this. So,
right.
So yeah, I think you're right at the local level, but again, with the free flow of information that we have. It used to be you went home and you watched Walter Cronkite or you watched Brinkley and Chancellor and Brinkley, or you watched whatever, and you read your newspaper, and that's the way it was. But now you've got a case of where you've got thousands of options
because of the internet.
Because of the internet and streaming and cable and everything, where you've got all these channels and all these voices, and we have gotten to this point where we all just want to listen to the voice that we agree with or the voice that makes us comfortable.
The agenda.
And I, like I said, I watch a lot of CNN now because it's the least, because I watch MSNBC and I go, oh, Jesus Christ.
Okay, so real quick.
And I watch Fox News and I go, oh, Jesus Christ.
I want to know that real quick. So it was always educate me. CNN, Fox News, those were the two opposites, right? Where did MSNBC?
Extremists.
Yeah, where did MSNBC
CNN
fall in
was
that?
the original, and they when they first
they
started,
were the original
liberal
full.
No, they were the original legacy. They weren't. No, they did not take a left turn.
Ever?
In the beginning. Oh, they had. They did. Sure, they did. Yeah, they tried to join MSNBC. Now they're trying to be more in the center because
MSNBC was the super left one.
Yes,
okay,
and they came around. But at one time, MSNBC was Microsoft NBC, and there was a partnership there, and they had a lot of financial stuff, and they had a lot of more talk show content. Oh, well, then they went to try to go 24 News, and then they brought back more talk shows. But Fox News, Roger Ailes, who used to work for Richard Nixon, he was the one who Rupert Murdoch hired to start Fox News, and they basically said, we are going to be the less liberal option. We are going, and which basically meant the conservative option, and that's what they set out to do, and they did a hell of a job. And at one time, they would have their. I don't know if I don't watch it that much anymore. I mean, I assume they still have some token liberals on from time to time. I mean, Pete Buttigieg has talked about he still goes on Fox and tries to battle it out with people. But you look at it and they don't. Again, there's conservative, but again, there's conservative Republican, and then there's MAGA, and those are two different things because the conservative Republican Party is gone. It's gone. It's all Trump. It is the party of Trump now.
I have a question, though, because you seem to know a lot about...
You don't have to raise your hand. We're not in this class.
You know a lot about media and legacy media and a lot of the conspiracy theories, and I just kind of want to get your take on it because a lot of people look at Vanguard, BlackRock as kind of the owners of all of it. So, CNN, MSNBC, Fox, when you do kind of the digging to funnel up to the top of how these conglomerates all shake out, it all comes down to one or two owners who eventually funnel up to one owner. Mm-hmm. Is that true?
Not necessarily. Okay. I mean, there are people who own majority stocks in these companies, but they're not like Rupert Murdoch with Fox, who is the guy that runs Fox, and he's trying to decide which one of his kids is going to take over after he dies and all this stuff, and he's on like wife number 7 or 8 or whatever, or 5, I don't know. He's had a lot of wives. But he's in his 80s as well. So they have to determine what they're like now. And he's got one son who has really tried to not. I mean, he had one son who tried to make them more center, and they got killed for it. And now they've reverted back to basically being waving the pom-poms for Donald. The viewers killed him. The viewers killed him because they weren't watching anymore.
Where's my tinfoil
until
hat?
They went back. I don't mean kill.
Where
like
is
in
it?
That's
kill.
what I was.
No, but I'm just saying.
They killed Fox. Fox News' ratings dropped when they tried to tack to the center. So then they had decided they had to go back right, and now it's not even right. It's just MAGA. They have
That's
to
what
go
I want to ask you. You
full
really
Trump.
You don't think that a conservative party that's not full MAGA, whatever.
Magnum, I think
that's
is
full Trump. You really think everybody in the conservative party or anybody that leans conservative is just full on Trump?
No, I don't think so at all. But I think
it's the majority.
But I think those conservatives now have no home. Those conservatives. I mean, I'm sorry. Mitt Romney is a conservative. Other conservatives like that. Adam Kinzinger is a conservative. I'm sorry. These people are conservatives, and they don't have a home. Liz Cheney is a conservative.
Why can't they just say this, that we are conservatives, but we're not trumping?
They have, and they've been excommunicated by the party.
Oh.
That's why Adam Kinzinger spoke at the Democratic National Convention. Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger were the two Republicans on the January 6th committee. Mitt Romney's not running for re-election as a senator in Utah.
But the problem is money.
Yeah, that's what I said. Do they get paid
all
for that?
money.
That's not the problem. Mitt Romney's rich.
No.
But did they get paid?
You always want rich.
Speak?
You always want to be richer.
To switch.
Yeah.
No.
Did they get paid to come on there and say...
No.
Like if you had full beliefs, and you couldn't get people to believe what you were saying, and you didn't give a shit about money, you would continue to go tell it on the mountain, and you would do that based on your moral hunches and your moral compass. But guess what drives all of these people?
You don't think
money and power.
You don't think it was Adam Kinzinger's moral
I don't know Adam Kinzinger
that had him do this when he basically, after January 6th, is like, well, we can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. And a lot of people who did that. I think if you were to watch his speech, you would, and listen to him sometimes when he's on CNN and other places, mostly CNN, you really get, he's a conservative guy, and people will talk about this, and he'll say, look, I don't agree with this, but I said, I'm putting my country before my party because my party's gone. That's what he says.
Oh, really?
Yep.
So as much as you say that you don't like talking national stuff, here's what I've gathered from tonight, okay?
Y'all drag me into it.
No. So here's what I've gathered. I think it's a very good, I love our platform. I love debating these things. And I feel like some of these conversations need to be had at a local level so that people can learn that hey, maybe shut off CNN, maybe shut off MSNBC, maybe shut off Fox News, because we can give you the summary of what we think, and then you can go look. I'm not saying it needs to happen all the time, but it is nice that you're not just getting inundated. And I've seen these things happen on my favorite comedian podcast where they're like taking their parents' remotes and putting it on like Cartoon Network or something, and then not letting them follow any of the news things because it like consumes them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
And again,
I think it happens so often everywhere that it's so divisive and yucky and blech.
But I'm still not a regular CNN viewer. I only like if something big happens. That's when I go to CNN.
I don't think you're regular anything. Just gather.
There you go.
Yeah, just gathering from like you, when we talk about certain instances, you have a particular stance on it, but tonight we talk about something different, and you definitely have your own opinion on things, which I think is where the world needs to be.
I try to have an open mind.
Yeah.
I really do. And again, I think in talking about, being more of a libertarian whatever, it's like, and not a full-fledged, but it's like let people do their own stuff as long as it's not bothering me and as long as it's not hurting others. That's kind of my thing.
But don't make me have to participate.
Absolutely.
Like,
But
I'm
also
so about that. As long as
transparency, baby.
Yeah.
And real quick, I think we need to cover this, and I'm just going to the Cook's Lane thing.
Okay.
No, we don't have to do it tonight.
Some
But I
other
think,
time, that'd be
we
great.
should be some other time because I
Sure.
think it is very important and unfortunate how it came to be. But
Yeah.
it is what it is, and I think that we owe it to our community to talk about it.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it may
David
not
wrote
be-
about it last night, and we'll
Yeah.
continue to follow up on
Absolutely.
it. And again,
I don't want to gloss over it, I guess.
No,
Right.
I don't think you should at all. And again, I'm going to give Steve Homan credit because he did bring it up, and but I do want to say that it's still. I hope the city's doing the proper research, and I hope that the city brings in whoever they need to on an environmental perspective to take care of this. So
Yeah.
again, and if any citizen brings something valid up and not just bullshit talking points or blather, that's great. But on a legitimate issue like this, absolutely.
He did it the right way, though.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Right?
he talked
He did.
about it, then he went to council, and that's what we need more
Yeah.
people to
Absolutely.
do. Like, you bring up the issues, and then you
Yeah.
execute and
No,
go to
I definitely want to give, in this case,
council.
I want to give the guy his due.
Yeah.
So, but I think that,
Nice job,
again,
Steve.
that's something that you look at. And again, when citizens get involved for the right reasons and get involved just because they think something's going on, and
Well, you can
they
get
don't,
involved for whatever reason, but
Yeah.
as long as you do your due
the right
diligence.
reasons.
What's the right
Well,
reasons?
well,
And
Well,
nothing-
there are right reasons. Sure, there are. If you're just looking at, it depends on what the issue is.
No, if you get
This
involved
issue-
because you have a hunch, that
Right.
is a right reason.
If you
get
care,
involved because someone tells you,
that's a right reason.
Okay, that's
If
fair.
you get involved and you do your due diligence without just coming and blathering on social media, pointing fingers and mother effing this and mother effing, but take the right steps. And if you're confused on those right steps, maybe we can help, maybe we can't, maybe we can point you in the right direction. But if you have a concern,
As long as you're going at it with an open mind
There-
and
yeah.
not coming at it with some sort
With
of
an open mind.
an open mind, and not some sort of agenda, preconceived notion,
I agree.
whatever. That's
Yeah.
kind of what I was trying to say.
Yeah, I gotcha.
guess.
Yeah.
So,
But anyway,
But I bring up stuff all the time that's, probably not for the right
Blathering. We
reasons.
blather.
But I care.
Yeah.
And so I do think
You
that
do
and I
care.
think that ultimately
care.
is
Both of
what
you do.
too much sometimes.
I think that ultimately is what prompts people to bring these things up, and sometimes it's because they hate current administration, which is maybe what you're talking about for the wrong reason. But sometimes it comes
no,
up.
not necessarily. No,
Okay.
because again, this is a problem that preceded the current administration.
Yeah,
this is going on
okay,
a long time.
Okay.
So
1976 or
yeah.
something.
So
Yeah,
no,
so
I'm
just
talking.
uncovering it.
No, again, I just want to, like I said, it appears this was all done for the right reasons, in an altruistic and a way to say, okay, I care about my community, and I think this is bad, and we should fix it. And
Yeah.
that's
Steve
that's
said
perfect reason.
that you don't want Erin Brockovich to come here. I do. I do.
Well, I mean, I want to
Erin
meet her, but I don't
Of
want to
course
be
you do.
Hinckley.
No.
Right? And there is a water company
I
called
still
Hinckley,
want-
and
Can
I
we
was
do
like,
Julia
what the
Roberts?
That's what I
F?
was hoping.
Yeah.
no.
Have you guys seen that? There's a Hinckley Water Company truck. I think there's a company called Hinckley Water. And I was like, what an unfortunate name.
Yeah, that's not good.
Pretty
Change
bad
your-
marketing.
Bad marketing.
Change your
But
name.
hey, who am I to judge? Here's what I
Maybe-
think. Takeaways. Of course, we have the space folks. Let's Godspeed to them getting home before
Thoughts?
February, right? Pray that they have space
Christmas.
Prayers.
Pray they have space condoms and space morals. Also, right?
And Spaceballs.
Amazon. Let's
already have those.
Let's go ahead and celebrate ahead of time, but make sure we dig into the actual logistics. Hello, how you like that? And then and then all the costs associated, money and otherwise. And then let's take the other stance here that we love debating national politics, which I didn't think was a thing. Ha-ha!
Oh, so now we found our new roundup thing for the next,
Yeah.
what is it, 70-something days?
Yay.
Yay.
Yay, us.
Anyway, so hopefully everybody enjoyed this. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yes.
Yeah. And I always love you guys.
I love you.
Always
You
love
educate me.
It was a lot of fun. So,
All
all right. We'll see you later. I'll see you in a couple weeks. They'll see you much more frequently and much more sooner because they're going to do all the work while I'm gone. So,
Party.
see you later.
Cheers.